Hi, this is a wrap up for Sci-Fi September. Um, I had a lot of fun with Sci-Fi September. Possibly the best um, reading challenge I've ever done. Possibly. Um, I managed to read a total of, I think it's 7 books and two graphic novels. The two graphic novels weren't really much. They were simple, sort of okay reads. The first and possibly the best book that I read in Sci-Fi September is Machines Like Me by Ian McEwan. I would call it a LGBTQ plus with a very tenuous link. That link being Alan Turing, who is a not exactly a big feature, but he does feature in the novel, so I would say it qualifies. And it could also be artificial intelligence, because the android Adam is artificial intelligence. The one thing is that it's a love triangle, sort of a sometimes a standard sort of feature in some novels. But Adam the android, the haiku writing android, has sort of a sad fate in it. The main character, Charlie's not very likable, but there's so much in it, and there's a lot of alternative history, which is very interesting, and this novel covers a broad sort of range of subjects. There's philosophy, I think the main one would be the human and the sort of the flaws of the human and the human condition. I was going to say trigger warnings, but that seems like a very young person thing to say. I don't think I'd ever say trigger warnings in real life, but trigger warnings and I suppose spoiler alert, which I actually do say in real life, but trigger warnings and spoiler alert for rape. The character Miranda has a dark secret in it. How well that's handled, I'm not sure, but it's very intriguing, very good ending as well. The next book that I finished, and is very much in the category of guilty pleasure. This is Damnation Alley by Roger Zelazny, and this is for the set on Earth prompt, and it's a also post-apocalyptic, although I don't think that was in the I don't think that was one of the categories. But yeah, Hell Tanner. And I imagine his voice being sort of Clint Eastwood. You feel lucky, punk. You know, he's talking through his teeth like that the whole time. And a cross between that and Snake Plissken from Escape from New York and Escape from LA. But he, it sort of also wages of fear. In I think it was a 50s or 60s movie. But he has to drive this truck of serum, combating a plague in Boston, and he is driving from LA, California, and the rest of the US is a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and it's very much an adventure book, quite simple, but a definite guilty pleasure. As for the movie, it's not as good, but it is, to a certain degree, quite faithful to the book. The person is called Tanner, but I don't think he's called Hell Tanner, and he's definitely not a Hell's Angel. He's a military guy. The special effects in the movie are quite dated. There's a bit where he's driving by these dog-sized scorpions. I mean, it's it's quite charming the way they've done it, but quite dated. And I would definitely say the movie is horror sci-fi. There's a horrible bit with cockroaches. Yeah, but I'll leave a link to the movie down below. For some reason at the start it has a cowboy guy. I think he's the host. But I really loved Damnation Alley. Next, I read Logan's Run by William F. Nolan and George Clayton Johnson. I watched the movie quite a long time ago. So long ago it might have been video, but I don't think so. But it slightly deviates from the movie. One thing is the age that people are allowed to go to is 21 instead of 31, I think it is in the movie. And I don't think that Carousel is in the novel. It might be a reference to it, but it doesn't feature in the novel that it features in the movie. But it's just it's weird. He goes from one part of the earth to the other. They've got some sort of futuristic transport thing. I quite like there's characters called the Cubs, and they're sort of like breakaway renegades from the society, although they still don't live beyond the they've got the flower thing in the palm of their hands, and when that turns black, that's on their 21st year. That's the end of them. But it just sort of lost me in places. How different it is from the movie, I'm not entirely sure. There's some weird bits in it. A good read, but didn't like it that much. Next, and a bit of a surprise, I really liked The Mortal Engines by Philip Reeve. Sorry. This is for the steampunk category. And it's a bit of a surprise, I really liked it. Maybe it's sort of simple with the characters and their sort of destinations, but I like the dialogue. I love that idea of this massive London that goes around, swallowing other cities and villages. Very imaginative. Will I read the whole saga? I don't know. I might. I've not seen the movie, but after reading this, I would like to see the movie. I can probably get it quite cheap on DVD. Next, I read The Sunless World by Neil R. Jones. This is actually 3 short stories. And this was for unpopular or unheard of writers. Neil R. Jones is, I don't think, too well known, not as well as other sci-fi writers such as Isaac Asimov, Ray Bradbury, Arthur C. Clarke. I think Neil R. Jones was the golden age of science fiction, but I'm not too sure. 1940s and 50s maybe, I'm not too sure. But this is 3 short stories in one book. There's Into the Hydrosphere, Time's Mausoleum, which is actually a time travel story, so I can tick off time travel in the categories, and The Sunless World. I liked it. It had quite a lot of good science in it, such as the gravity and the chemical makeup of the planets. But one thing is the Zoromes, the robot characters, they don't have names, they have numbers. And so every time I felt that really slowed my reading down when it's number talking to number. And the main character, Professor Jameson, he also has a number, so you're reading all these numbers and letters. That slowed me down a bit. Bits of it did drag a little bit, but I liked it. It was a good read. Next is Star Trek The Next Generation, Grounded by David Bischoff. I like this. It is, I think, mainly a romance, with Data as the chaperone. There's two characters, Penelope Winthrop and a character they discover from this outpost place, and they fall in love, although the character Penelope is slightly autistic, and I don't know exactly when this was published, but at that time, 1993, but at that time I don't know how much that would be mentioned as opposed to now. She's also slightly telepathic or telekinesis with mind powers, but she's socially awkward, and Data and counsellor Deanna Troy help her out. It's quite charming story. The nemesis enemy sort of character reminded me of the oil slick character that kills Lieutenant Tasha Yar. I think that was it was either the first or the second season of Star Trek Next Generation, but the enemy kind of reminded me of that. It's definitely all the characters in it, including their sort of words, how they speak, and mannerisms are really well written. But one thing that really jarred with me, and one thing I don't like about it, is Worf is playing beach volleyball. It's on the holodeck, but Worf playing volleyball, I just can't picture that. It's the volleyball thing's this sort of side B or possibly C story. But that volleyball thing was the one thing I didn't like. But other than that, it's a good novel. And the last thing I read is The Deep Range by Arthur C. Clarke. And this is for the water prompt. It's really about deep sea exploration, and they uncover a giant squid there, you see. The plot seemed sort of in some bits non-existent. There's flashbacks and not exactly forwards, but sort of to the present, and then at the end of it is a couple of years down the road, and the main characters, one of the main characters' children is launching into space. There's a very interesting take on whale hunting, and not just whale hunting, but meat eating, involving a Buddha, which is quite interesting. Definitely makes you think of. There's a nice quote about later on in the future, humans will meet some highly intelligent life form, and that life form will sort of come to judge them. When that time comes, the treatment man receives from his superiors may well depend upon the way he has behaved towards the other creatures of his own world. And that's a really good quote. But the plot, I felt, was sort of all over the place, and in some parts I was a little bit bored. But overall, it is a good and quite interesting read. So I would have liked to have read more, but didn't quite get round to those. I didn't even start at 2001. I got a tiny bit into The End of Eternity by Isaac Asimov. It comes across as a bit dated and maybe sexist. But I'm quite a big fan of Isaac Asimov, so on page 62, 63. So I'll finish that at some point, and hopefully the others as well. I'll do more on that in a separate video. Thanks for watching, and many thanks to the people who were responsible for Sci-Fi September. Thanks for watching. Bye.